All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Friday, August 25th of 2023 here. Last show of the week. For those of you guys who don't know, we do this show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern. So if you guys want to get any questions in ahead of the weekend, today is the show to do it, or else you're going to have to wait until Monday show. But looking ahead, we have a 12-game MLB main slate today. We have a 13-fight MMA card tomorrow on Saturday, and then we have NASCAR all weekend. We have trucks, Xfinity, and Cup Series. We support all three formats with projections on SaberSim. But for those of you guys who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. It's a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS-related questions. You get your questions in one of three ways here. First, you can send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second, you can post your questions live in the YouTube chat. Or three, you can post your questions in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord and want to get access to that channel, there is a link in the description below. You also get access to all of our similar channels. See when lineups are released, see when players are scratched, see when Sims run for that updated news. You get access to all of our individual sport channels where members of the community, other members of the SaberSim team are getting in on individual sport strategy conversations, giving and taking feedback. So great place to learn if you are trying to learn about a particular sport for DFS. But with that being said, going to get the app pulled up here. Got my FanDuel live final jersey on from last year's live final in honor of the live final happening this weekend. So shout out to Giant Squid and anybody else using SaberSim who has tickets. I hope you guys represent and can take it down here. So just reminiscent on last year's. But for today, we had one question that came in via support. We are going to start there, and then we're going to jump over to the Discord, and then lastly, the YouTube chat. We'll get to all the questions before the end of the show, as always here. But first question says, while this video uses a daily slate in mind, would you consider a similar system if you're primarily an NFL main slate DFS player? My gut says you have to go higher than 5% of your bankroll if you're only seeing less than 20 slates in a season. Okay, so this question is specifically referring to the DFS Profit Plan. This person watched the DFS Profit Plan video and said, hey, I know you guys did this back testing in regards to NFL. In regards to MLB, what do you think about it for NFL? And they're asking me if it still applies. So actually, the really interesting thing with NFL specifically, if we look at just regular season main slates, there are 18. If we look at a sport like MLB or NBA, you have about 6 months, right? So MLB would go April, May, June, July, August, September. So 6 months. And there are slates, 30 to 31 days, minus the All-Star break. You're getting 30 to 31 days a month, right? So really NFL is less than 1 month of these other sports. And when you think about it like that, the noise that you get in your results from NFL specifically, like an NFL season is going to be so much more noisier than an NBA season or an MLB season. So the way I like to think about it is that NFL has less slates, therefore it has more variance. And then MLB, NBA, they have more slates, so they have less variance. So you are able to smooth out the variance with the just raw number of slates in MLB, in NBA, in hockey, etc., right? So think about it like that. So it is for that specific reason that I think following the DFS Profit Plan is even more important, just because of the noise, just because of the randomness here with so few slates. So don't think about it in the sense of like, hey, there's less slates, so I need to play more money. Like, no, there's actually less slates, so there's more variance. So you need to be even more careful. So think about it along those lines, and I think that the DFS Profit Plan still applies. But great question to get us started today. Johnny said, hey, bro, I have my jerseys from last year as well. I didn't see. They're awesome. Yeah, man. So funny story with that. So I think I was supposed to fly out on like a Thursday. I'm in LA, so I was supposed to fly to Chicago on a Thursday, and I ended up getting appendicitis and had to have emergency surgery the Saturday night before the tournament. So I didn't actually travel to the tournament. I wasn't able to travel just because of the surgery. So FanDuel was nice enough to send me the package, and I still have my jersey. So I know a lot of the other SaberSim guys were out there, so didn't get to link up with them. So that was unfortunate, but still was cool. Still sweated it out and had a good time. But jumping over to the Discord now, question from B Heels. Question says, if you're trying to be more efficient with time and most of your volume is in single entry 3 max, 20 max, is it viable to cut down the number of lineups and simulations to run? I find my process taking a lot longer with extra steps and learning how to be quick with running lineup buckets and sims across various contests. I'm not sure how often my best lineups come from the longer end of percentiles in the lineups and / or sims. Okay, so I think that, I think it's normal with the new setup that your process is taking longer just because there's a little bit of a learning curve. You might be, adding in contest sims. You might be doing some things different. I think that, as you get more comfortable with this new layout, like we've only had this since Tuesday, right? So it's been legit 3 days here. So, it's going to take a little bit to get time, but you're going to get more efficient with it. What I would say is like, if you're trying to find some time savings, I know that the DFS Profit Plan talks about building your single entries and 3 maxes in one build and your 20 max and 150 max in another build. You could possibly just combine those, right? Just fill everything from the same build. Probably the one thing that might take you some time here is setting up your contest sim settings here. And we're trying to we're working on a way to allow you to create contest sim settings from the contest flashback tab here. So basically what you would be able to do for DraftKings is go into your all contest tab, and then you're saying like, hey, I am playing, the solo shot tonight. So then I could right click on contest name. I could search for it. So solo shot. So it is here. And then basically I would be able to say send this to a contest sim format, right? Because everything's here already. The contest size is here. The percent to first is here. The percent cash is here. So this saves you time from having to go on your phone and figure it out and drag it across, or do the math to figure out percent to first. So excuse me. Once we figure out that functionality, that should save you some time there. So we're still working on some time saving stuff ourselves here. But I think as far as building, if you're trying to find some time savings, maybe just doing everything in one build could help you out. Excuse me. Still a little sick here. Okay, next question in the office hours channel. Question says, in Jordan's initial video on contest sims, he demonstrated uploading custom ownership, matching exposures, and building a pool of field lineups, but he used default slider settings for that build. Matching exposure limits what we get back, but we're assigning sim correlations and diversity to the field. Wouldn't it make more sense to build those in optimizer mode? By the way, when I tried that, the build just hung. Okay, so I think it's actually a really good question, right? Let's go back to our build. So the question is hey, if you don't want to use one of SaberSim's options here for the contest sims and you want to build your own custom field, how should you do that, right? And I think that, thinking about it from optimizer mode is viable here. But if you're going to use optimizer mode, you can't just switch it to optimizer mode and then build your field, right? You're going to have to go the whole way here. You're going to have to set up your randomness, set up your lineup rules, set up stacking rules, right? Make sure that you are doing things that are reflective of that. If you're just building straight cash lineups, a lot of these lineups are not going to be stacked. They're going to be, maybe 2 stacks, maybe 3 stacks, depending on, the team, etc. here, right? But if you want to build something that is actually reflective of the field in optimizer mode, you're going to have to spend time here dialing in your rules and groups and things like that, right? So I think that the reason he probably did it in sim mode is for just time savings, is for, just speed here. I think that one thing that you could do if you wanted to stay in sim mode, possibly lower some of these slider settings, right? So instead of having sim diversity so high, drop it down to 1 or drop it down to 2, where it is a very low setting, going to use very close to the average projections. And then you can even drop down correlation, right? Correlation slider is going to be a proxy for some of those lineup rules that we're talking about. So maybe you want to have less correlation. Maybe you drop it down to 5 and you do your field lineups with a correlation 5, sim diversity 1. So I think that you can mess around with it. And then, just run builds here and then see if they're passing the eye test for you. Like, okay, I'm going to run my build on my 5-1 settings. Does it look like what I wanted to do? Do I need to make further adjustments, right? Am I getting enough of the chalk lineups? Things like that, right? So run some builds. It's going to be a little touch and go, a little trial and error. So give it a shot. But those are some of my initial ideas on how you could adjust that. All right, next question in the office hour channel. It's our last question here, and then we're going to jump over to the YouTube chat. Question says, will contest flashback be taken any further? For example, on Fantasy Cruncher, you can see how different builds would have scored in different contests and the actual profit loss. So good question here. To be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I know that we are still building things related to contest flashback and contest sims. Like, this is not the final iteration that you guys are seeing. I think that this is a lot of like the meat and potatoes here, but we still have some sides on the way for you guys, right? So that's like the best analogy I can make here, but we'll see. We're always innovating. We're always trying to build the best product and be just very creative with what we are offering to our subscribers. All right, jumping over to the YouTube chat. Question here from Daniel said, good afternoon. Can you walk through MLB late swap and how to download lineups? I was having issues with uploading them to DK. Yeah, so I could definitely do that here. I will just show you guys how to do a late swap here. So let me jump into DK. I'm just going to enter a contest here. So we have a CSV to work with. That way we could properly demo this late swap here. So I just entered a contest, and then I'm going to go to contests here. Excuse me. Going to use the download template file from DK. Going to drag my CSV over. Boom, I have my CSV now. Going to go back to my build, and then just going to use these lineups that we've already generated here. Going to change my number of lineups to 1, and then going to save the contest here. Going to save that. Going to download it now that this green download button is lit up here. And then now I am ready to do my late swap here. So I'm just going to enter that really quickly here onto DK. That way I can upload the late swap and make sure that it is working correctly in case there were issues with upload. But it uploaded to DK successfully here. So then now let's imagine that we are post lock here. So how do you late swap, right? Before, it used to be up in the top right of your build settings here. It's no longer there. It lives in the contest tab. And the reason for that is because the contest tab now shows your exposures and your lineups, and then it does it on a contest basis here. So if I had 2 contests, when I uncheck one, the exposures will update, and then the lineups that are being shown will be for that specific contest that is being shown now, right? So you have the ability to come in, do late swaps for different sets of contests, look at your exposures, etc. here, right? But anyways, I just have the one lineup. I have the one contest. You're going to see the late swap option up here in the top right above your lineups. When you click this, you're going to get a new workspace, and then it's going to say swap. So this is how you know that this is going to be your late swap option here. And then your number of lineups is going to get identified, and then it's going to build you so many lineups. So I'm only going to build 10 lineups. Remember that we are taking a lineup, looking at the players who have locked, looking at the remaining salary, the remaining position availability, and then still using our simulations, but then filling those slots appropriately. And then we are building iterations of each lineup. So if we have, one lineup, and then I set my pool size to 10, we're going to build 10 iterations of that original lineup for you here. So just going to make my 2 adjustments to projections, unlock the build lineups button, and then going to start building. So what you're going to see here in the top right, it says download new entry. So basically, once you decide which lineup or group of lineups that you want to take with you into your contest, you just click this download new entries button, and then you can upload this directly to the DraftKings site here. So I'm going to let these 10 lineups build. They are finishing up now. And then going to click this download new entries button. Going to take that file and then upload it to DK. I just want to make sure that it works here. And I did get a successfully uploaded message here. So that is how you late swap on the new SaberSim UI here. So, if you guys are having any issues with that, it worked out well for me. So I would just walk through this tutorial if you're having any issues. All right, scrolling down here. Luke Diesel said, does nobody play cash anymore? I don't ever see a process to use SaberSim to build cash lineups. So we don't love cash here. And the reason for that is, 1, the rake is high, And two, it is very easy to build a strong cash lineup in DFS in 2023. I'm not going to, say any bad things about anybody else in the industry. I think there are good projections across the industry, and I think that you could, they're very accessible. Optimizers are accessible, and especially optimizers that optimize based on projected points, which is what you want to do for cash games, right? We market ourselves as the optimizer that is going to help you win GPPs, right? We are not using average projections. We are not optimizing based on projected score. We are building lineups based on upside, based on ability to win tournaments, win GPPs, right? So that's where a lot of our content is going to be focused here. But one, rake is really high, and two, it, like I said, it's very good projections across the industry. Very easy to build strong cash lineups. If you're playing cash, I would be very selective here. I think game selection is going to be super important. Like, you want to play cash NFL, like, yeah, sure, do that. Do that for, the first 4 weeks of the season, or, don't do that in week 12. A lot of only the grinders are left, right? You want to play cash MLB, play through May. Don't play, second half MLB cash. It's going to be really hard. You're probably just going to be, losing to the rake, playing a lot of the same players each and every day. So very hard to be a profitable cash player in DFS in 2023, which is why a lot of our content is focused on GPPs. Johnny says, sorry to hear you couldn't make it, but glad you are feeling better. I usually download SaberSim projections and set my max exposure and then use Fantasy Cruncher. Yeah, man. I think a lot of people, are just familiar with Fantasy Cruncher. That's why we wanted to create optimizer mode, something very similar to what a lot of people who have, long-term processes have been used to using to hopefully, allow them to have a process on SaberSim that is, very similar to the process that they've used for a long time, that they've been profitable with here. And, that allows you to use our tools, use our contest sims, use our contest flashback as well, right? So we're trying to bridge the gap and help more people make the transition here. Daniel said, best way to use contest sims for solo shot tonight by sorting method. I used ROI and win percentage and then diversified, but looking for some extra help on how to get the best lineups. So seems like you're on the right track. I would just make sure that, when you are setting up these contest sim settings, make sure you're taking advantage of all our different ownerships / field lineups here. So when you go to field lineups, we have the SaberSim ownership. We have this drop down here, right? And this is going to default to flagship MME. But if you are playing the solo shot, which is a $1.20 max here, if you click on this eye icon, it's going to show you what the different meanings are here, right? So low stakes is contest $3 and under that pros cannot play. Flagship is $4 to $30 in entry fees. Medium stakes is $30 to $100 in entry fees. And then high stakes is $100 or more in entry fees here. So if I were playing the $1.20 max, I would go to low stakes 20 max. What this is going to do is this is going to, one, it'll change the ownership if you come into the app here. So if I go to my own and then I look at the current ownership, which is flagship MME, if I were to change this, I'm going to go to pitchers here, and I'm going to sort pitchers highest to lowest to emphasize this the most here. If I go to low stakes 20 max, Cease went from 28% owned down to 25% owned. And then if I want to go look at high stakes ownership, he's going to go up to 30%. If I look at high stakes single entry, he's going to go up to 40%. So basically the idea here is that the best plays, sometimes projected plays, sometimes point per dollar plays, are going to be higher owned in some of the higher stakes contests and then lower owned in some of the lower stakes contests. There's a lot more that goes into it just beyond that here. I don't want to downplay the ability for us what we're doing here. I think that this is super cool. We're offering ownership for 13 different types of contests here, which is super cool. And then basically what's happening here, right, is we are running builds at high sim diversities and with different parameters and settings here. And then we are generating lineups. We are running builds, and then we are using the exposures from those builds as the ownership projections. If you want to see what the actual lineups look like, in the contest tab under ownership contests, you can come into this and then you can click on any one of these eye icons. So if I want to see what does the lineups that are making up our field for the solo shot tonight look like, and then I click this eye icon, it's going to bring up the lineups here. So in this window, if I wanted to, I could look at the exposures. I could look at the stack exposures. I could look at the team stacks, etc. here, right? If I wanted to edit these in any way, I could click create custom field. It will open up a workspace for this ownership here. And I think I clicked it. Let's try again. So create custom field. Okay, so if you guys ever run into any issues like this, something's not working, do a hard reset. Control-Shift-R or Command-Shift-R. Control-Shift-R is for Windows, and then Command-Shift-R is for Mac here. So then I'm going to try again here. So I'm going to go back to ownership. I'm going to go to low stakes 20 max. And then going to go to create custom field. So I don't know why this isn't working. I will make a note on my end to test this out after. Let's try a different one. Let's try low stakes MME. Let's make sure it's not working. Okay, so really quick note. Create custom field. Not working. And I'll figure out. But basically what would happen here, or what's supposed to happen, is that these lineups are supposed to go to a new workspace here where you can, one, edit them, where you can trash lineups, where you can make adjustments to them, right? So that's kind of the whole point there specifically. But let's get back to the original question here. So we were talking about, using the contest sims for the solo shot. So I was just talking about, how to look at the ownership, how to adjust the ownership, and then getting back to your settings here. So just make sure that you're using the appropriate set of lineups here, right? The ones that are most likely going to reflect the contest that you're playing here. And then, set up your settings correctly here, and then run that contest sim. And then a couple different, ideas here in the post build, right? One, you could sort by ROI, which is just going to be the highest ROI lineups. I would still, recommend using min uniques here. If you guys listen to the most recent contest sim video with Jordan, Andy, and Matt, they talked about that, a lot of the highest ROI lineups are going to be areas where we find a very high leverage point where when it does work out, you do very well. But those lineups could be very highly leveraged against the chalk. And Matt was even saying that sometimes, he is doing things with his lineups where he is creating a custom metric and working in ownership to make the lineups not so incredibly leveraged here, right? So a couple different things with that. I would recommend experimenting with custom metrics. We're going to be releasing more and more content around these ideas, helping users get an idea. But I think for now, ROI with min uniques, sacrificing ROI for diversity is something, a concept that is not new, something we've talked about for a long time here, right? But now we can actually see it, right? Once we run that contest sim, we're actually seeing that we're dipping into lower ROI lineups here. But not super new. It sounds like you're using the tool very well. So if you have any more questions, just let me know. Johnny said, when using FC, it works fine, but when using optimizer mode and Saber Sim, it gets stuck with my max exposures. Am I doing something wrong? So good question. Frankly, the answer is I'm not sure. I know we had some issues yesterday, but I know that the team was looking at it and pushed a fix. So if you run into issues, the best thing that you guys can do for us is up in the top right, use this report a problem link. It sends information about your session to our support team, helps us to figure out what went wrong, where there might be a bug, and how we can go about quickly fixing that. So anytime that happens, we really appreciate when you guys do that for us. All right, this is our last question at the moment. If anybody has any last questions, now is a great time to get those in. Question says, hi, Andrew, can you demonstrate editing a lineup? Just swap out one player. I cannot get it to save the change. It shows the change under edited, but not in lineups. Yes. So this is actually a bug at the moment. So basically what happens is if you were to X a player, insert a new player, and then click save, it is not editing this original lineup. It is putting it in this edited column. So what you would have to do, just go to the edited one, click the lock icon, close that, and then actually, let me see. So the edit I do know this is a bug that is creating this edited thing, and then it is not doing it here. So I wonder if we save it to favorites, if that will fix it all. So let's save to favorites. And then it sent the original. Okay. So this is a known issue and the team is working on it. So I would say this is not on you. This is definitely something that we need to fix, but it is going to this edited column, which apparently I cannot save to. So one thing I think you could do here is if you click save to CSV and then you go to a new workspace, you could use upload pool button and then upload that lineup that you just downloaded, and then that lineup will become your lineup. So that is probably the best way to fix that at the moment here. So this is the way I would suggest doing it. So the great thing is that, now you can right click your workspace and then upload pool, and then that lineup is here, and then you can save it and it looks correct. So glad we were able to figure out a fix for that one here. But with that being said, we are all caught up with questions via support, via office hours, via YouTube chat. So while we wait for any last questions to roll in, just want to remind you guys, if you guys are not playing over on Owner's Box, would highly recommend taking advantage of our partnership with them. We partnered with them at the beginning of the MLB DFS season here, first major optimizer to support contests on Owner's Box. We've seen a lot of overlay throughout the MLB season. We find reduced rate contests, no rate contests, contests where they are paying you to play. The competition is generally going to be softer than what you're going to find on DraftKings, FanDuel, or Yahoo here. They just released their contest for week 1. NFL features a big 50K to first flagship contest here. I think that, as these prize pools grow, as these contests get bigger, more and more people are going to end up playing on their site just because, everyone wants to take down that big prize. So take advantage of the soft contests while they last. When you use promo code SABRE or SaberSim when you sign up, 1, you can get up to a $500 deposit bonus, and then 2, we will track your entry fees for you here, and then you can earn free months of SaberSim just by playing on the site and nothing else. So each time you hit one of these entry fee tiers, our team will reach out to you, let you know you have earned a free month of SaberSim. You can either cash in on that right away, or you can wait till the next tier. We are going to be adding an ultimate tier here very soon. But either way, once you cash in, we will automatically reset your tracking to 0, and then you will start earning towards your next free month. There is no limit on the amount of free months you can earn while this promotion lasts. So take advantage of it. The link to this sign-up page is in the description of this video. But with that being said, not seeing any other questions here, I will see you guys all Monday, August 28th for our next show, 2 p.m. Eastern. So until then, take care. Good luck in your contest. I will see you all. Thanks. Bye.